Hey guys, welcome to week 2 of program development and grants. In week 1, I hope you guys had some time to really read and start to understand the grant making process. I added some videos in there in the content last week. There's also a video in the content this week. I think it's Grants It's Not Rocket Surgery, which really kind of gives you a nice overview of the process and how grants really work, because a lot of people are more intimidated by grants than you really should be. They're really not that uh, uh, complex when you break it down. So I hope you find those videos helpful. This week, we're going to start building on some of your knowledge. I know in week 1 discussion, we took a look at the organization that you wanted to find funding for. You did a little survey of the organization so you can help to understand. Now, my intention with that assignment was for you to be able to look at the organization and see the gaps. Because when you're thinking about finding funding, you're not just considering the agency. The type of agency makes a difference in your eligibility for some, but you need to think of it in terms of your project. So, just to give you a practical example, um, if you work for a um, child advocacy center, and that's your agency that you're looking for funding for, you're going to write a grant for them. Now, a child advocacy center does a lot of things. A lot of times they're doing forensic interviewing, they're providing therapeutic services for children who have been abused, neglected, sexually, and physically. So in that through the assignment in week 1 discussion, you're going to understand a little bit about what the organization does currently, and then you can kind of see the gaps. So say one of the gaps is you're dealing with a lot of at-risk youth, so maybe a after school program would be great. So if that's what you're looking for, an after school program that provides more therapeutic value, or other positive activities for those at-risk youth. So then your search that you're looking for week 2, which our assignment this week is in week 2 is to find a couple funding opportunities for your agency. So then when you're looking for funding, you're looking for terms like um, uh, at-risk youth, after-school programs, um, youth programs, things like that. So you're looking for agencies, foundations that fund specific projects for those at-risk youth. So you're thinking more about terms that surround the project, not just child advocacy center, because the center has funding. It may not have enough funding. Funding's hard to come by, but it may not have all the funding it needs, but it has funding. So what you're doing here is, in your project, you're doing value added. I also have a degree in business, so I always go back to my business roots in some of this. When you're writing your grant, you always think about your value added. That's what the agency or the foundation that you're applying to, that's what they want to see. They want to see that they're getting the biggest bang for their buck. They want to see that the most value is being added to what you're doing. And so they like to fund agencies that are doing great things already, and you're just helping them go to the next level. So they love that kind of stuff. So think about it in terms of that when you're searching. One of the other assignments in week 1 was to get registered on the SPIN website, InfoEd Global, and that's a web-based search engine that we use at Concord. And I've been going in and approving you guys because, in my other role is in sponsored programs, I control that website also. So I've been going in and approving you guys every day. So I've approved several of you, but there's still some of you that haven't registered. So please, if you haven't done that, please get in there and get registered so you can have more time to search. It's just like Google. I mean, keywords are essential. And like I said, keywords have to refer back to what you're actually wanting to do with the money. And think about it practically also in what you want to do. How are you going to be able to spend that money? You get funding, but you have to be able to spend it toward it. Generally, you're not going to find funding for just operational costs. Sometimes that happens, but usually that's for a major program. Like if, say, drug court's a good example. If any of you guys are familiar with any drug court or treatment court, you may have encountered that or may even work with that. They have specific funding opportunities to fund that program. But what we're looking for here is value added to the center you're already in. So don't make it too overly complex. Keep it simple. Value added for your agency may be an after-school program. It may be a new treatment approach. It may be just more outreach to get more people in the door, or a certain population that maybe you're not serving. Maybe you're not addressing the homeless population to get them in to do outpatient therapy. Things of that nature, trying to fill a gap in services, because that's what we look for as social workers. We're trying to fill those gaps and make sure people have what they need to be successful. So keep those things in mind when you're working on week 2 assignment. Now, as you're looking for funding for your week 2 exercise, you have to find 2 funding opportunities with that. Keep in mind that they do not have to be currently active. If you find something in spin and the due date has already passed, that's still fine. I just want you guys to learn the process and be able to find something that would work for your agency. Okay. Take a look at eligibility. Is your type of agency eligible? Is it a nonprofit? Those kind of things. You don't have to pay a lot of attention to that, because for the purposes of this class, as long as you find funding that fits with what your project is, what you want to do with your project, it'll be fine. So don't stress too much about this assignment, but do take a look and critically read those funding opportunities to make sure it really is something that would fit for what you're wanting to do. And as I said before, all of your discussion assignments throughout the 4 discussion assignments will help you build toward creating your overall proposal. So week 2 helps you formulate some of your program ideas. It helps you develop your program design and examine those critical areas that need funding, those gaps in services. So all the steps outlined on the pages 45 to 47 in the book help you kind of work through that and start to think about those kind of things. And thinking about your needs statement. Part of grant writing is being able to sell your idea, putting that on paper and stating it in a way where people understand, and they really truly understand the need for this type of project. So just keep that in mind when you're doing your discussion posts, and put some thought into it. But this is also your time to help each other, because you do your post, and then the next Tuesday your responses are due. So you're helping your peers. You'll get feedback from your peers about your part of the discussion. I'm going to try to chime in as I can. Last week was a little bit of a busy week in the office for me, so I didn't get to read as many discussions and keep it on top of it as much as I'd like to, but I'll try to give you guys some feedback as well. So week 2, we only have the discussion, and we have that week 2 assignment, and there's also some content within the module to take a look at, and also reading of chapters 5, 6, and 8. So be careful in reading those chapters. That should help marry right in with what you're doing with the discussion and the assignment. But as always, if you have any questions, please feel free to contact me. I know I've spoken with a few of you this week with questions about the proposal. The overall proposal information is in Blackboard. It's under the proposal tab right under the weekly modules. So I'd encourage you to go ahead and take a look at that. This funding opportunity is fictional. We made it up. I don't know if any of you guys have had Scott Ingram for class. He actually developed that RFP. And I will be updating it. So I hopefully have the updated copy in there today, if at all possible. So, be thinking ahead, looking at that. The guidelines are not stringent on that RFP. We left it open intentionally so you guys can have more freedom in working with your organization. So if you have questions, please feel free to reach out, let me know. And if I see issues this week, I will definitely try to do another video and explaining some things. So, but if there's something that I can help explain a little bit in more detail, let me know. I can do another video or address it with you individually. So good luck on week 2. Take care. Bye-bye.